Hello. In this video, we're going to talk about how to complete the Etown study abroad application. So just to backtrack here quickly, I wanted to show you how to actually start your application. So if you're on the Etown study abroad website and you see the big apply now button here, you can definitely click on that. And then you'll be taken to a page here that has a list of available applications and you can select which one applies to you. So for example, if you're looking at fall of 2022, all of our international programs is most likely the main application you're going to be looking at here. But if you are looking to do our Washington, D.C. program or a non-affiliated or partner program, you can click there to start your application. And when you do click on it, you will be taken to a page in our application system specifically for that term. And you can either hit request to apply here, or if you've already set up a profile in our application system, which is also our program matching system, you should be able to hit apply now from this button here as well. So that's how you actually start the application. Once you do have an account set up, this is what the application will look like. So I just kind of wanted to browse through this and explain the different sections in a little bit more detail for you. So the first part of the application here is to fill out your traveler information. So this is pretty straightforward. Any section that has an asterisk is a required section. So you do need to fill that out. So again, we're looking for first and last name here, email, your Etown student ID, your date of birth. And then there's some additional information if you want to provide it. It's not a requirement, but then we are looking for your phone number as well as your permanent address. I will say that the one glitch with the system here is that the permanent address line 2 or line 2 of any address is a requirement. That is on the application system side of it. I can't modify that, unfortunately. So if your address does not include 2 lines, you can just hit, enter NA or put a period or something in there. I know that that's a technical glitch and I apologize for that. So you will have to enter something there because again, there is an asterisk, but you can keep moving with that. All right, same thing, major, minors, if you have them, GPA, your year in school, currently what's your year in school, your anticipated graduation date, your passport status. So you don't necessarily have to have an active passport in order to submit an Etown study abroad application, but we do want to know what the status of your passport is currently so that we can have a conversation if you need to apply. If you do have a valid passport, we are looking to enter your passport expiration date. And part of that is because you do need a passport, obviously, to travel internationally. This is not a question that would show up for our Washington, D.C. applicants. But if you are traveling internationally, you need the passport and it needs to be valid for at least 6 months after you would return from your program. So keeping in mind what the dates of your program are, add at least 6 months on the end of it. If your passport's going to expire within that time frame, you will need to renew your passport before studying abroad. So there's more information about that later in the application here. So country or countries of citizenship, that's in relation to your passport. And then we do ask for 2 emergency contacts. So this is information so that when you are abroad, if we need to get in touch with somebody other than you, we have 2 emergency contacts available. So again, listing out their contact information, again, omitting the address line 2 with some kind of filler text if that doesn't apply to you because it is technically required in the application. All right, so then moving on after all that profile information, then there is this section on how did you hear about this program? So how did you hear about studying abroad initially? You can select as many of these that apply to you. We're just trying to get initial understanding of how are people learning about study abroad on campus. So select all of those options that apply to you. We're just collecting some general data there. Then this goes back to your emergency contact information, just making sure that I do indeed have permission to contact those individuals, because in some cases we will reach out to them before you would study abroad and not necessarily in an emergency situation, just to keep them informed. We don't typically get them too involved, but just making sure that we have permission to reach out to them. And if we don't, if you wouldn't mind adding some comments here on why we can't reach out to them, that would be grateful. Very appreciative of that. So we talked a little bit more about passport information. Again, it's not a requirement for you to upload valid passport information in the initial application. We will ask for that in the post-approved application, but we are trying to, again, make sure that you are aware if you are traveling internationally that you absolutely must have a passport in order to study abroad. So if you don't currently have a passport, you can apply for your first passport. And there are several places that you can do that, and it's really easy to search where you can apply for a passport. But if you are based on campus currently, you can actually apply through Etown's public libraries passport services. So I have a link here for their office. You can reach out to them and schedule an appointment, and they will handle the whole application process for you. You will likely need some personal documentation, maybe a birth certificate or something like that. So keep that in mind and maybe coordinate it at the beginning of the semester or after a break or something like that, so that you can collect those documents from home or connect with family to bring them in. If you currently have a passport that's going to expire or has expired and you need to renew it, it is a different process than applying for a new passport. It's very similar, but you might actually be able to submit that renewal through the mail. So there is a link here that you can see if your passport is eligible for renewal by the mail. And again, see what all is entailed with that. If you have a youth passport, typically you can't renew that via the mail. So you do have to apply for your first adult passport through the initial application process again, in which case Etown's public library could help you with that, but they don't typically, my understanding is they don't typically help with the renewal of passports. So definitely check out those two resources and look into it, start that process early. Typically it takes at least 6 weeks for passports to be processed. We are experiencing significantly longer delays right now because of COVID, which is upwards of 18 weeks delayed. So it's definitely not too early for you to work on your passport application. Definitely want to make sure that you have that in hand in time to study abroad, and certain locations are going to require you to apply for a visa within the 3 months before you actually depart. So you're going to need your passport in hand in order to apply for that visa. So definitely make sure that this process is in motion if it's not already. Moving along in the application here, we're looking for your academic advisor. So we're listing out any major advisors, any minor advisors if you have a minor. Then we're looking for your program selection. So we want you to list out what your first choice program is here. And if for some reason you're still deciding and you're not exactly sure, or you have a backup program in mind, you can definitely list a second option here, but it's not a requirement. Then we have 2 essays. So the first essay does not have a word count. We're just generally trying to get an idea. How did you get to this point? You know, what made you ultimately decide to study abroad? So again, this could be some interaction that you had on campus with a professor, with the study abroad office, with a student, or it could be that you've always wanted to travel internationally. And since you were a young child, your family has instilled a spirit of adventure in you, or you just, nobody in your family has left the country before and you're anxious to do so, or anything like that. You know, how did you get to this point of ultimately studying abroad? Again, it's more or less just getting to know you a little bit more and how you got to this point. And then the second essay here does have a word count of at least 300 to 500 words. And we're specifically looking for, why did you pick the specific program that you picked? So we do want to know some details on how that program relates to you personally, academically, you know, your professional aspirations. We're not looking for you to reiterate the program website and say about how you love the excursions that are included or anything like that, because we're familiar with the programs. We want to know specifically how it relates to you personally. So definitely take a little bit of time to think about this. This essay is more or less to get you thinking about your goals with study abroad, you know, why you picked this program, how it connects to said goals, your academic progress, your professional aspirations, all of that, to just be thinking about that a little bit more strategically to make sure that you are making a good choice in your actual program selection. And then moving on, again, not a formal essay here or any word counts, but we're just looking to get a rough idea, you know, what type of courses are you planning on taking abroad? Are there certain core courses for Etown that you need to take? Are there major or minor requirements? We're asking for this now, not so that you list specific courses that you definitely plan on taking from the university that you intend to enroll in, but just to get a rough idea of the type of courses that you need to take so that we can say, oh, you absolutely need to take creative expression while you're abroad, but unfortunately this program doesn't offer courses that are hands-on art, dance, photography type courses. So if you absolutely need creative expression, we should probably look somewhere else. So again, this is just prompting an initial conversation. We're not looking for exact course names, so don't put too much pressure on this. Once you're approved to study abroad, then that's when you can fill out the course approval form. where we actually get specific classes signed off by Etown. So again, just a rough idea. Just want to double check that your program is a good fit for you. Any additional comments that you didn't feel like you got to address in your other essays, you can list them there. And then this is the Dean of Students approval section of the application. So we are going to reach out to the Dean of Students office and just make sure you don't have any academic or behavioral issues in your past at Etown that would prevent you from going abroad, because ultimately we want you to succeed academically while you're abroad, but we also want you to be a good representation of the college. So with that, we're reaching out to the Dean of Students and making sure that you don't have any, sanctions or violations in your past time at Etown, or anything that you're currently working through, any current sanctions that you have in place that would potentially prevent you from going abroad or succeeding abroad. So we do collect that information from the Dean of Students. Sometimes your program providers will then ask for that information when the college officially grants their approval for you to study abroad. But most times this is just information that we're double checking to make sure that you're gonna succeed abroad. So with that said, it's super easy how you request this approval. You actually are going to literally just copy and paste this email address here for Amy Barra, who is the assistant of the Dean of Students. You are literally just gonna copy and paste that email and put it right here. So you're going to put in that email address right in that box and hit send. You don't need to insert, any faculty member there. You're not putting in your own personal email. You're literally just putting in the email that is provided. You're going to copy and paste and put it in the box and hit send. Then the next step here is your unofficial transcript. So you can download off of JWeb. You just need the unofficial copy. We do not need an official copy, so please don't pester registration and records to request an official copy or pay for an official copy. Not for Etown's application. You might need to do that for your specific program application, but definitely not for Etown. So just downloading an unofficial copy of your transcript from JWeb is exactly what we're looking for. So you can upload that here. And ultimately what we're looking for from study abroad perspective is just to make sure that you meet the overall 2.6 GPA requirement by the college to study abroad. If you don't, we can definitely still have a conversation about it, but that's what we're looking for to confirm. So definitely try and make sure it's your most up-to-date transcript as you can, but we understand depending on when you're applying, you might be waiting on some grades to come in, and that's okay. This next section here is not required. Again, it's just trying to collect some general information about who you are and the type of students that study abroad. But before I go into that, I do want to point out this important note here. We do encourage students to apply for scholarship opportunities. This includes applying for Etown study abroad scholarships, where we give out 10 $1,000 scholarships each year, and you can find out more information about that on our website. And then we also promote some external opportunities as well. So we do promote the Gilman Scholarship, which is a U.S. Department of State scholarship opportunity. You do specifically need to be a federal Pell Grant recipient in order to be eligible for the scholarship. So if you're not sure if that's you, definitely reach out to financial aid, talk to your family, see if you received the federal Pell Grant or if you will by the time that you studied abroad. So with that information in mind, if you are eligible for the Gilman Scholarship, it's an award that gives up to $5,000 to the recipients. They can give you any amount under $5,000, but $5,000 is the maximum amount. And as long as you apply for the Gilman and are eligible for the Gilman, we would actually waive that $250 Etown study abroad fee. So you will pay that fee in the post-approved side of the application. So if you are eligible, again, for the Gilman, so you have to receive the federal Pell Grant, and you apply, you would have this study abroad fee waived. You don't necessarily need to win the award in order to have the fee waived. We're just trying to encourage more students to take a chance and actually apply for the scholarship. With that said, the fee waiver is a value of $250, which is the standard study abroad fee. But if you are applying for a non-affiliated program, it would not waive the full $1,000 fee, it would just waive $250 and lower your fee amount to $750. So again, definitely encourage you to apply for this scholarship opportunity as well as other external scholarships. If you do apply for the Gilman Scholarship, definitely reach out to the study abroad office as well as the Office of Prestigious Scholarships and Fellowships for some guidance on how to apply and reviewing your essays. before you ultimately submit the application, because our offices work with students throughout the process and have some insight into what makes a winning application. So we definitely want to help you to strengthen your application before you submit it to increase your odds of potentially winning the Gilman. But again, you don't need to win the Gilman to get the fee waiver. So with that said, I'm going to go into these questions that we talked about. So again, these are just some general questions that we're trying to get a better understanding of who's studying abroad at Etown. So we're asking, have you traveled abroad before? Are you a first generation college student? Are you in Momentum? Are you a Stamp Scholar? Are you a member of Etown's honors program? Are you a student athlete? And if you are a student athlete, which sports or sport do you participate in? The last part here is that if you are participating on a semester program, just want to make sure you have an understanding of how the fees work for semester programs. So we do ask a question here. If you are not participating on a semester program, this question is required for everyone. So you would just select the not applicable, I'm studying abroad in the summer or winter program. But if this does apply to you, I just want to make sure that you understand the different fee categories that we have on our website for semester programs and how much you're going to be charged by the college to study abroad. So we have, majority of our programs are in the Etown tuition only category, but a few of them do have this additional preferred program fee. So you can definitely check out the different fee categories on our website and make sure that you have an understanding of where your program falls. But we just want to make sure that you understand that before proceeding with your application. This preferred program fee is in addition to the $250 study abroad fee that I mentioned. So again, just want to make sure you have an understanding of your finances. If you have any questions, obviously reach out to the study abroad office. Happy to answer any questions that you have. Happy to provide you with a budget sheet for your program, which would include this preferred program fee. But definitely just want to make sure you have an understanding of it before you proceed with your application. So with that said, that is the entire application for the Etown Study Abroad. In your view, it would say submit here instead of the preview option. So you definitely would hit that button. Your sections of the application, hopefully you see, don't take too long to complete. Honestly, if you wanted to complete it in an evening or a weekend, you definitely could. You would just need to allow a little bit of time then for that Dean of Students approval to come in. And then typically the study abroad office tries to turn around applications fairly quickly. Within, a week or so after we receive that Dean of Students approval, we try and give you an updated status on your application, and we'll send you an email and copy your academic advisor on it to congratulate you on officially being accepted to study abroad. And then when you are accepted, you can continue in the process and start working on our post-approved materials and then start your program application. We encourage you to wait to start your program application until after you've actually been approved by the college to study abroad, because your program applications typically have non-refundable application fees. So with that said, that's an overview of our initial Etown study abroad application, and I hope that provided a little bit of clarity to the process. Thanks so much.